Welcome to Your Infinite Health. Are you getting older?
Are you feeling it?
How would you like to do that in reverse?
We're your host,
Dr. Tripp
and LeNae.
We've run an integrative medicine practice for 13 years.
Together, we have 60 years of combined experience helping clients.
We've helped tens of thousands achieve success in health and live longer, happier lives.
In this show, we'll cover peer-reviewed and evidence-based integrative approaches to creating the health you've always wanted.
We also share professional experience we see in the field every day.
So if you're ready to feel, look, and live your best life, you're in the right place.
Welcome to Your Infinite Health podcast.
LeNae here. I will be your singular host for this evening. Actually, it's quite late, and that can be a good thing because it's just me and you. The kids are asleep. The dogs, I think, should be asleep. And I thought I'd pop on here real quick and just kind of do an off-the-cuff chat because, and let me tell you why. Earlier in the evening, I was on a virtual panel with some really beautiful ladies, and the topic of the panel was about how busy entrepreneurs relax, rejuvenate, and focus. They used the word frazzled nerves. Frazzled for me doesn't really resonate. Personally, don't feel that I get frazzled, although I can get wound up quite tightly with regards to stress. Because if you're an entrepreneur or if you're a busy person trying to juggle multiple things between your career, your family, your personal life, and whatnot, situations can arise that can be stressful. I know for me, I'm run into various stressful situations virtually from the time I get up. I'm racing the clock to make sure that I get the youngest to school before 8 o'clock. And it's about a 35 to 40 minute commute in heavy traffic, which also creates stress, and various business issues pop up and people issues pop up that can create stress. And so these ladies and I were really kind of talking about how each of us make the time to mitigate that stress or relax, rejuvenate, I think are the terms that they used. So thought you might benefit from that as well. As for me, and I told this to the ladies on the panel and the listeners in that group, that deep breathing is probably like the first thing that I do, just taking a deep breath, mostly to regroup and ground in the moment and try to release some of the tension that I find has built up in my body because of whatever situation has occurred that is not bringing me joy in the moment. So once I do that, and actually it's really fun. I'm going to back up a little bit. What I did not share with the ladies that I'm only going to share with you is right before getting on that panel, I was actually having kind of like a physical panic attack, I guess. I'm not really prone to panic attacks, but I was having a physical reaction where I felt like my heart rate had sped up, and I don't know. It was a really weird sensation that I'm not accustomed to. And so I was like, great, I'm actually having like a stressful panic attack right before I go on a talk to tell people how to mitigate these kinds of issues. And in that moment, what I did was take a deep breath, a few deep breaths, actually. And then because it was such a curious situation for me, I kind of stepped outside, not outside my body, but I went into what I call the observer of the situation. So kind of outside. I took my awareness outside of what was happening immediate to observe it from kind of a detached perspective, if that makes sense at all. Because I was curious as to what brought this on, because I certainly wasn't nervous about being on this panel. I'd done them before. I actually really enjoy the opportunity to hear other people's perspectives and share my own perspective in that sort of venue. It's a relaxed, easy venue. And so that wasn't it. And so I was like, well, what did I eat? But I hadn't eaten anything weird, so that didn't make sense. And then it occurred to me that perhaps I was empathing someone else's anxiety. And that may or may not make sense to you if you perceive yourself to be somewhat empathic. I think I'm probably more empathic than I would like to be. I really like to make sure I'm in my own energy and not taking on others. But in that moment, I really couldn't understand what else it was. So just observing the situation, understanding that in a stressful situation, whatever it is, it's information. More often than not, it's information that isn't digesting well. And so we're having this adverse reaction. But getting to that perspective where you kind of detach the emotions out of the situation helps to look at it in that kind of observer detached perspective, taking it as just information that's neither good nor bad, just is. And so that was one of the things I was able to share. So maybe I had that experience so that I could actually share that tip, because it's a fairly unique one, I think. And then most of the other ladies that participated had really great insights. Breath work, I think, was agreed upon by all to be the foundational step, really breathing in and out deeply and taking that moment to be present and mindful and aware. Another good one that I have in place is setting boundaries. And as an entrepreneur, specifically, it can be really easy to always have the mind solving problems and trying to do all the things you need to do 24/7. Don't really have the luxury of clocking out when you are self-employed and there are other people who are relying on you for their livelihoods. At the same time, if you are constantly burning your, we call them telomeres at both ends, then you're really not going to be of service to anybody. And I think I touched on that in a previous episode. But here specifically, boundaries as so vital to making sure that you're not bringing on unnecessary stressful situations, right? So being mindful and curating the information that you receive, well, whether that's news or media, social media, stressful television, whatever that is, that's information that you are receiving, and those things can actually impact your stress level, which impacts your health adversely. Another area of boundaries that has been very important for me is guarding where I'm giving my energy. Who is worthy of my energy? And that could be just people in the familial situations. It can be people in social situations, but making sure that you are expending your energy with people that support you and empower you and help you be a better version of yourself and not drain you and impose their limiting beliefs or their guilt and shame on you is very important to making sure that you are guarding yourself against unnecessary stress. And I will say, and I shared this with the ladies as well, that a lot of stress is kind of self-induced. Probably most stress is self-induced. And it can be brought on by expectations that we impose upon other people or situations that invariably are failing to meet up to our expectations. And so that can create some stress as well. So just being mindful of not imposing expectations on others, which is easier said than done, especially if you are a leader or an entrepreneur or a manager or somebody who oversees the tasks and responsibilities of others. Of course, there's expectations. So that was a tidbit. And let me think. Obviously, proper nutrition, proper sleep, physical fitness and exercise that you actually enjoy doing also go a long way in nourishing your body, your mind, and your soul, and helping you to rejuvenate and relax. Taking that time for yourself, making the time for yourself a priority, very important to mitigating stressful situations as they arise. Of course, one lady said that she didn't have any stress at all, so she had perfected the art of not even allowing it to get to her, and that's quite an enviable place to be, for sure. But if you are dealing with stress from time to time, try these tips. Just be present, take a few deep breaths in and out, step outside yourself and detach the emotion from the situation and observe it. And another good tip that I learned working when I worked in a law firm is it urgent and important? Is it urgent but not important? Or is it neither urgent or unimportant? So really good. If the house isn't burning down and nobody's on fire, don't sweat the small stuff. I hope you found this helpful. I would love to hear what you do to mitigate stress in your life. If you have any tips, feel free to reach out and share them. The best way to do that is to go to yourinfinitehealth.com and fill out that comment form. And until next time.
Thanks for subscribing to Your Infinite Health. I'm Dr. Tripp.
And I'm LeNae. Until next time, feel it, look it, and live it.